Hello and welcome, friends, fans, and family, to episode 3 of the Sisters podcast, Iconic Sisters podcast. You know what I mean. First of all, on behalf of me and my sisters, I'd like to issue an apology for not releasing an episode for an entire month. We're guys, the Google calendars are getting written as we speak after this, and we're gonna really lock in. But personally, I graduated from college and I was traveling internationally, and I think Allie had a really terrible month also. So we're back on it.
We're working on it. Yeah, we'll get better.
We're back.
Yes.
And we're never going to leave ever again.
Yeah. Be prepared.
Thank you also to the people who responded to Kylie's personal Instagram story and submitted our queries for the end of this episode. Please continue to do that. The link is in the description and also the Instagram bio. Okay.
Yes.
So who's going first about what made us anxious this week?
What made us anxious this week? Kylie, what made you anxious this week?
Okay, so I had to record a whole audition, and for the musicians, the classical musicians out there, which I know there are a few who listen, recording an audition is very anxiety provoking in a very different way than doing a live audition. Because of the fact you can do it as many times as you want until it's perfect, which is good, but it's also very I'd prefer to do a live audition. I think just do it once, get it over with. But I had to record for this festival I want to attend, and it all had to be in one take. So there were six excerpts and part of 2 solos. So it was a lot of material for me to record in one take. And they picked the order. You can't pick the order of stuff you play. Some of the hardest stuff was at the end, and they do that on purpose. I've gotten better at doing it, but what made me anxious about it, particularly this time, was it was due on this past Sunday, which is the day that the snow hit. And I literally couldn't go anywhere. Like, I had a room booked to record on that day, but I couldn't go there because it was snowing multiple feet. So I was stuck here, and I don't have the worst apartment for recording, but it's never ideal because I have 2 cats and they're very unpredictable, and it's hard enough to make a recording yourself and get through everything playing it the way you want it to be. I was just worried they would start screaming in the middle of it. They would start running around and their toenails on the floor. But I had no choice because it was due on Sunday and I didn't plan ahead enough to do it earlier than that. And so I had to sit there and do the whole recording. It ended up being 15 minutes long, my one take. But luckily I got through it. And the first time I was like, I don't think I can do it better than that. And I went back and I watched the video, and my one cat, Flower, she didn't make any noise, which is good. But at the very beginning, if you watch it, I start playing and you can see her tail go across the screen.
Oh no.
And then at one point she comes into the frame and she sits there and she just looks at me for a minute. And then she goes somewhere else.
Wait, that points to you. That's kind of extra points.
Yeah, it was kind of cute. She didn't really make any noise, but you could see her. And then at the very end, she went to the door, and there's a crack between the door and the wall, and she went and looked in it and put her paw in it, and then exited the frame. But I got through it, and I watched, and I was like, she didn't make any sound. I played really well. I'm just gonna submit it, and so that was good. But the whole time I was like, there's so much right now. I could play perfectly and then she could do something at the end, But luckily none of that happened and I got through it. So
nice.
Yeah.
Good.
You can do it, even under the worst of circumstances, is what I have to say.
I love that. I guess I'll go next. I don't even know where to start. Just reflecting on 2025, a lot of things changed for me in a good way. I felt like a lot of development personally, professionally, relationships, like made lots of new friends. Like it's 2025 is a great year for me. And I like going into 2026, I was very much like, this is just the bomb. Like this is going to be so amazing. Excuse my use of that phrase. That is really tone deaf.
She works for context, she works in de-arming policies.
Everybody's laughing at me. I'm sorry.
She's using that colloquially, and it has nothing to do with the actual thing.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Basically, all signs, things. I got a really good new job opportunity at the end of 2025, so all things were looking up for 2026. I was like, this is gonna be amazing. Like January, February, it's gonna be amazing, and it has been. Like it's been good, but the state of the world, the state of this country, like it's always not been good. And if you know the policy side of things, like you know that it hasn't just started getting bad in the past month or even the past year. Like it's been bad, but personally and in my career, it's been really demoralizing to see it's been demoralizing and anxiety inducing to see the older people in my line of work that are fighting against US starting wars in other countries. Like it's genuinely like a group of the smartest, most ambitious, most passionate, most caring people that I've ever met. And I look up to them so much. And it's like you see this community working overtime, like every waking hour of the day for weeks and weeks and weeks. The most impressive group of people I've ever met. And it results in like one senator changing their vote and then flipping it back on the piece of legislation that didn't have a chance to pass anyway. And so it seems like there's no results. And as a young, like bright, starry-eyed person going into policy and wanting to change things for the better, I just realized that like you don't get the material change that you might get in a more, the word is lost on me right now, but you don't get the type of material change that you might get like as an engineer in business. Like you get a sale or you finish your project. Like that's not like this in my line of work. I'm glad I'm doing it, but I've had to reevaluate my commitment to genuinely having a life outside of my career. It's so important. Anyway, that was kind of babbling on, but I have had a few ups and downs about that. But I'm still really happy about what I'm doing in DC, and I'm sure if you are a loyal listener to us, you will hear more about it and the specifics of what I do, because it might be kind of with no context what I just said. Basically, the state of the world is horrible, and please reach out to me if you have any questions about things such as the military-industrial complex. I'd love to chat with you about it. Yeah, it's sometimes all you can do is laugh to keep from crying.
In the spirit,
yeah, that gives me a lot of anxiety, and I'm trying to take myself less seriously because that's the only way you survive, and like be serious about hobbies. Anyway, that's enough. We can have a silly rest of the episode.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, in the spirit of laughing at other people, what made me anxious this week is much less existential and insightful, and it's that yesterday me and my mom and her husband, who are living together since my graduation, that's my life update, is that I've moved back in with mom. Went to a relative's house to go sledding because she lives by this like big empty park with a bunch of hills and soccer fields and stuff, and so it's much better than where we live because there's a bunch of trees everywhere, and we were kind of nervous about that. But the issue with the storm that has just happened is that where we are, like in the DC area, it snowed for like 3 or 4 inches, and then we had sleet, and so there's a thick like layer of like solid ice over all of the snow, which I guess we didn't think about before we went sledding.
I have literally never seen it where it's not slush. It's only either powder or ice. And like when it first
Yeah.
snowed, it was powder, and now it's all just ice. There's nothing. It's just ice, and it looks like this nice fluffy snow. And you step on it, it's like an ice skating rink. That's genuinely how it is.
Yeah.
So there have been 2 different ice epidemics in the past like week or so. But we decided to go sledding because we thought maybe it had melted and it would be fun. And this is giving me anxiety talking about it. But we went out back. There's most of the hills aren't that far, and we went down a couple and we were like, uh-oh, this is a little too like scary and fast, because there's no like, the fun thing about sledding is that if you crash, it's like into a big pile of snow and it's not that high stakes, but it's like solid ground and you're not. So we're like, there's no falling is possible or recommended. And Mom was like, go do the big hill, because I want to take a video of it, which she tried to and failed, which I don't know how that happened, but there is no video of this happening, which I'm kind of thankful for. But basically the tallest hill, I walked all the way to the top of it, and it's like one super steep hill, and then like maybe 4 feet of flat ground and like a little rock or a ramp or something, and then another even steeper, worse hill. And it looked like an okay idea from the bottom, and then I walked to the top and I was like, I don't know about this. Like, I'm having anxiety. And some other people who were there, who were watching, were like, just send it, just go. And I was like, oh. And so I was on an inner tube, like the same ones that you would use in the water, because that's what we were using. And it was too fast on the ice, and I tipped over the edge, and there's not like when you're sledding you can kind of feel the snow underneath you. It felt like when you fall at an ice skating rink and you're sliding. Like, it was just straight ice. And so I started going way too down the first part of the hill. I started going way too fast, and I was kind of like, uh-oh, like, should I bail? Is that a bad idea? Am I gonna like... But so because I started going too fast on the first hill, when I hit the flat part, I just bounced, and I bounced out of my inner tube and also over the entire flat part. So I bounced out of it, over the flat part, hit the back of my head, and rolled without an inner tube all the way down the even worse, steeper, icy hill. Like, I had to have been going at least like 15 or 20 miles an hour down the hill, like with no sled. Like, I'm not where that's what it felt like, and that was...
There's a very low friction coefficient on that slope.
True.
As I didn't even say.
I talked to Mom about this earlier, and she really downplayed it based on what you just said.
No,
she was like,
"Oh
no, it was icy." That's like all she said.
Oh my god,
it sounds way worse.
It was bad, and because I remember sitting there, and I was sitting on the ground. I was kind of dizzy, and Jerome was yelling. He was like, "Are you okay?" And Mom was just cackling. I could hear her like laugh. She was like, "I got that on video." Spoiler alert: she didn't. But basically, that's like all good and fine. But basically, I like had trouble sleeping last night, and I'm kind of in pain today, and like my head and my neck and my shoulders hurt. So I may or may not have given myself like whiplash or something. If anyone has any medical opinions on that, feel free to text me. But yeah, I thought that was a good segue to the topic of today's episode that we've selected, which is injuries and illnesses. This is your official content warning. We're not going to be super explicit, but there will be discussion of injuries and illnesses. So I apologize in advance.
Some bodily fluids.
Oh, no.
We have some good stories. We all have good content for this. Yeah, and we won't go into too much graphic detail. I think in one of our last episodes I already talked about diarrhea, so this won't be too far off from that. No. I'd say it's like the worst from my end. So
Who's the first tribute? Who?
It's I think it's me also, because my my first story is also about a concussion. So I'm experienced with concussions. So I may or may not have one now, but the last time that I did have one was my junior year of high school, which is like, I feel like a lot of people who play like contact sports in high school or college have just gotten a concussion at some point, which I wasn't playing.
Excuse me. Nikki is an extreme athlete. Hashtag gliding down ice slopes. And high school marching band.
Oh no.
Sports you could possibly do.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, I was participating in a contact sport. Like, we were in the middle of water polo season, which plenty of people get concussed from that. That is not how I got a concussion. I got a concussion from marching band. So I don't know, like, all three of us were in marching band in high school. We will come back to this topic later, trust. It was very formative for all three of us. But and that marching band happened to be at a high school in Texas, which, if y'all are familiar, is kind of like the most unique and interesting and intense thing ever. But basically, it was off season. It was like the end of the school year in the spring, and we had one meetup for marching band, and the shows have to be super like artsy. They like pick a theme and everyone learns like dance moves to it. It's interesting, but basically we
It sounds
were
cool.
preparing
It sounds
for that.
culty when you're not part of it, and it kind of is.
Yeah,
It's a big production. There's lots of elements to it.
for sure.
Yeah.
And one of those is getting 14-year-olds who have never exercised before to be like theater kids, even though that's not what they're interested in. But basically, after school, one of the days we were in like the basketball arena at our school, so like wooden floors, and we were doing improv acting drills, which I'm never doing ever again in my life. Not just because of this, but also because I hated it and it was terrible. But basically, we would line up in like 5 or 6 lines. It's like maybe 150 or 200 kids. We were all like lined up, and 10 people at a time would go across the gym like in a certain improv way. Like the first prompt was like, run across the gym as if you're like a leaf in the wind and the season is ending. It was like some BS like that, pardon. And it was already embarrassing. And to try, and every time new people would go, they were like, do something new, do something no one has done before that you've seen. And so I was standing, eventually I kind of like got over myself because everyone's embarrassed. But we were standing in these lines, and I was standing next to my like best friend ever. Shout out to Connor. I hope he watches this. He has to now because we're talking about this. We were like, okay, Connor, like, so the prompt was, they told us, imagine that you're on a desert island and there's a ship and it's leaving, and if you don't make it to the ship, you're never gonna escape the desert island. And so we're like, what are we supposed to do? We just run? Like, I don't know. And so Connor and I were like, okay, lock in. We're gonna pretend like we're fighting over a briefcase. Like there was something valuable on this island, we have to get it onto this boat.
So
and he was
creative.
like, yeah. And we like were whispering because we weren't supposed to be talking. We're like, okay, you're gonna do this, then I'm gonna do this. And basically we were gonna like kind of run and like take it back and forth from each other, and then at the very end he's like gonna rip the suitcase out of my hands and I'm gonna push me to the floor, and he's gonna get on the boat triumphantly, and I'm gonna be stuck on the desert island. And this was what we had planned, and we were really excited about it. And then I guess like Connor got a little bit too into it. And by the time we were fighting over the suitcase and he was supposed to have ripped it out of my hands, he just like decked me, like completely like slammed me to the ground. And I hit
real like survival mechanisms.
I know, seriously. Kicked in. And I hit like the wooden gymnasium floor head first, like full impact.
Oh my god.
and I was concussed, and it was very dramatic after that. Like, immediately there was like a crack, I think, on the floor or something, because it was obvious that something had gone wrong, because multiple people looked over and Connor immediately was like, "Oh my god, are you okay? What happened?" And I was a little dizzy and my head hurt, but I was like, I'm fine. I got back up. And then for the next like 5 minutes I started getting really dizzy and really nauseous, and I was like, something's bad, something's wrong. And I don't know what really was going through my head, probably not a lot. But I was like, I think maybe I either have to pass out or throw up, and I don't really want to do that in front of a bunch of unathletic 14-year-olds, so I'm gonna like go in the hallway to the bathroom or something. And so I made it out into the hallway, and I sat down on the floor because I didn't make it to the bathroom because I thought I was gonna pass out. And so I was sitting on the floor like in recovery position. And what I remember is one of our like janitors, like some sort of after school staff, who I think didn't speak any English. Looking back, that's why this happened. Like, saw me like in the fetal position on the hallway high school floor, and like came up to me, and I was like, I think I said something to him, and he just walked away. And I assumed he was going to get someone, but in that moment I was like, he really just left me. Like, I can't believe. But eventually, this is kind of blurry for me, to be honest, but eventually I got back up and I went back in. And at this point, I wasn't like about to pass out, and I wasn't in a lot of pain, but I just started like, I guess when my brain hit the side of my skull, like it hit the emotional section. That's not scientific at all, I'm sorry, but I just started like sobbing, like uncontrollably, like I was sad. Not even like hurt sobbing, like I just couldn't stop, like tears and snot. And Connor was like, "Oh my god, like what happened?" I was like, "I'm fine, like it doesn't even hurt, like it's fine." And then yeah, basically someone saw me and was like, "You need to call a parent. Like, please don't drive home." Because I think I went to go get my keys or something, and one of our band directors was like, "You are not driving home. Like, let's call your dad." And so he came and got me, and it ended up being fine. But yeah, I held that. Connor felt literally so bad for the rest of the year, and I gave him no peace about it. I was like, yeah, and Connor concussed me. He like abused me.
Oh my god. That's crazy that happened in like I mean, you literally played water polo, right? Which and you would think that if you get a concussion from anything it would be that, but that's such like a random. And Connor also is like one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He's so nice and just so like gentle,
so
you know? I would never imagine, like, obviously it was an accident, but
Keep him away from improv acting, guys, and then he's fine. Man.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, I can go with the second story. So I was just thinking that my track record for this podcast is literally 2/3 diarrhea at this point. But I'm just gonna, I have two stories, and one of them involves this, and I just, I have to tell it because it's funny, and that's the way it has to be. You know what? Hopefully people can relate to this in some way, but
she's doing work for like advocacy, like representation.
Yeah,
People need to
exactly.
feel seen.
Yeah.
Hot girl bowel problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
And there's a reason why this happens to me so much, which it will involve my second story, but so it'll make sense in a minute. You're probably wondering like, oh my god, you should get checked out. Like, this is crazy, but don't worry, I have been. And well, I'll get to that, okay? So my first story is I was in undergrad in the University of Kansas, and I think this was like my my junior year. I think approximately my second or third year. I think it was the third year. And I was living in a dorm. Basically it was called a scholarship hall, so it was like a smaller dorm where we did all the cooking and cleaning and stuff. But basically I don't know if I think I ate something that was like not agreeing with me, or I don't later it will be revealed why this happened, but basically I ate something, and then I woke up at I think it was like 2 a.m. and these dorms, they have shared bathrooms, which is very unfortunate. I think some other dorm situations have, better, where you have a suite with bathroom you share with like one person, or but this was like a full floor bathroom. Just looking back on it, I don't know how I did that. I wouldn't want to do that again. But I think it's like as you gain more life experience, you're like, wow. But at the time, I was like, well, this is the way it is. Um, so I felt very sick at 2 a.m. And basically I went to the bathroom and I was like, um, in that situation, you're kind of panicked a little bit, and you're just trying to get to the bathroom as fast as possible. And I wasn't really using my brain or anything. And this also was the first time this had happened to me. It will go on to happen many, many more times, unfortunately. But when I got to the bathroom, I was on the toilet, and I could not figure out whether I was going to have diarrhea or throw up. And it really genuinely felt like 50-50 to me at that point. I did not know which was going to happen. Like, I I honestly I had no idea. And I was thinking like which would be worse though, to throw up on the floor or to have diarrhea on the floor. And I was like, I don't know. And somehow I made the decision that throwing up on the floor would be worse.
Yeah.
So
Oh, really?
I don't think that's
Ooh,
true.
that's a hot take.
Let us know in the comments.
That's a hot take.
I was just thinking it would be way harder to clean up. I don't know. It, because and then again, I also wasn't thinking very clearly in that moment either. So who knows? I think both would be bad. But I made a decision in the moment to get off the toilet and turn around because I thought I was going to throw up. And let me just say that was the wrong decision. I flipped the coin and I did not win. And
I think, Kylie, I think about this story once a week minimum, and it's been like 5 years.
God.
Listen, if you're having a bad day, it can always be worse.
Literally. And in that moment, it's so, I mean, you feel so bad. I thought I was gonna, like, I just, like, it's the lowest point. I think it's almost one of the worst things. Like, I can't think of anything. I don't know. But, yeah, so I chose wrong. And I ended up having diarrhea on the floor at the door. Which is it's so insane saying that out
How
loud.
many people shared that bathroom?
Probably at least 10 or more, because there were like 4.
Oh my goodness.
There were like 4 to a room, and then there were like at least 3 rooms.
You're so strong,
So more than
Kylie.
that, I think.
Did you clean it up?
I did, yeah. After it happened, I was like, wow. And because after that happened, my stomach started feeling better, and I was like, oh my god, like, I could have just like, well, I didn't really know, so you can't really blame me, but I started feeling better, and then I was like, wow, I cannot believe this just happened. Luckily, it was at 2 a.m. and nobody came in the bathroom while this happened. It could have been so much worse. It could have been during the day. People could have been in there, like, but luckily, like, and since we did all of the dorm cleaning ourselves, since it was the scholarship hall, we had the mop and we had the everything, like, we had all the cleaning supplies. So luckily I like had access to that, and I didn't have to like call the campus security or whatever. But that genuinely blew my mind, and I could not believe that happened. And the next day, because we cooked communal meals, I was like, oh my god, whoever made this meal fucked up. Like, this is like, I got food poisoning, blah, blah, blah. and it didn't happen to anyone else. So then I was kind of like, oh, wait. And there is a reason why later we found out that this happens to me a lot. That'll be my next story, but yeah.
To be clear, not shitting on the floor. Like just having stomach issues in general. That's only happened once.
Yeah. No, that's never happened again. So
On the floor.
Well, I have
Oh my
I have
God.
an equally no, it's not equally gross, but I have a throw up related story that is actually the most recent thing that's happened to me. So I contracted norovirus. I didn't know it at the time, but I was flying from DC to Boston, which is a short flight. It's like an hour and a half, I think, to see our cousin's college graduation in the summer. I had to get up really early and like drive there and find a parking spot. And it's like kind of a relatively stressful morning. And I got to the airport. I felt totally fine. But if you've ever had norovirus, it's like you don't feel like normal sick. You feel kind of normal, but you're just like throwing up. Or I guess some people have it from the other end too, but I was just throwing up. And I got to the airport and I was like, wow, I was kind of stressed. And I thought I wasn't going to make my flight. And I got really nauseous all of a sudden. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So I went to the bathroom and threw up in the bathroom. And then I felt great after that, like right after. And I was like, wow, that's the first time I've ever thrown up from like being stressed. It must have been that, because what else, you know? And then, because I felt totally fine, like no other symptoms. So I was like, it must just be from stress. And then I get on the plane. This is a JetBlue flight, which me and JetBlue, I have only taken 2 JetBlue flights. One of them was canceled, and then they paid for me to like stay in a resort in the Dominican Republic. So that's the first time. This is the second time I took JetBlue. I had a row to myself. Thank goodness. Literally, thank goodness. The story would be a lot different if I didn't. And I'm sitting on the plane and it's coming again. I feel I'm like getting extremely nauseous again. You know, and thankfully on airplanes they have the throat bags, you know?
Yeah.
And I just threw up again in the throat bag. And the whole flight, the whole day, the whole rest of the day, every 30 to 45 minutes I'd throw up. And by the end of the flight, I had used all 3 of the throat bags in my row. No, I had used 2 of them, and then I took the 3rd one with me as I was going, because I was starting to understand the pattern now at this point, you know? It was so bad.
That is
And
so
literally,
much.
no one on the, I'm actually really thankful for this. No one on the plane acknowledged it. And I did have a mask, thankfully, like in my bag. That's why I like pulled on a mask when I wasn't throwing up. So thankfully that was good. Literally throwing up, and like I drink water and I threw up the water. It was horrible. And then when I got to Boston, I knew I was going to have to take like a commuter bus to like get closer to where the family I was visiting lived. And I was like, I've got to buy myself as much time as possible. So I sat on the chair in the airport outside of the bathroom and waited until the next round came, because it was actually like pretty reliable intervals. So 45-minute my mark came. Sure enough, I got nauseous again, went in the bathroom, threw up, and then immediately booked it out of there. I couldn't waste any time. It was like on a timer. I made it all the way out, and then we were at the rental car company, like all the way. I took the bus, it was fine, and then I threw up again at the rental car company. So bad.
Oh my
It was so bad.
I'm just thinking about.
I was doing it felt fine. Like I was mentally clear enough to be like, okay, I gotta time this. I gotta time this thing, you know? I gotta do it right, and then I gotta book it. You know, I was mentally clear. And so I thought it was food poisoning. It ended up, I found out that I had dinner the night before with like some other family that had norovirus. So I was like, that's definitely what it was. Anyway, so I had the worst travel day. I probably lost like 10 pounds in that one day. I'm not kidding. I could not drink any water even.
Wow.
Every time you tell that story, I just think about how that whole time you were wearing my favorite hoodie for some reason. I don't remember why. But she had borrowed it, and then she gave it back to me, and she's like, sorry, this is the norovirus hoodie now.
Yeah, I was all alone. That was my big girl moment. I had no one to help me. I just had to
Oh
sit
my
outside the
God.
bathroom and time my throw ups and then run out.
I have
I
I
handled my
have
shit, okay, guys? I handled it.
I have
Okay.
also
Wow.
had norovirus, but I kind of don't remember it because I think I was in like first or second grade, and this was a family affair because we were all in the same summer like competitive swim league, and we had a practice like the day after, what is it, like Labor Day?
I don't know when it was.
Whatever that like end of the spring 3 weekend holiday or whatever, we had a practice, and I guess someone had pooped in the pool or something because every single like it had to have been like 50 kids, myself included, all of us contracted norovirus, and we were like vomiting all weekend.
Every
And
kid who stepped foot in the public pool got it.
yeah, it was bad.
Which is a lot. A huge swim team, by the
Wow.
way. This is like, I don't know the exact number, but I was saying earlier, at least 50, probably more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably more.
Yeah. I think it was way more than that, but yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, and our mom was like the president of the swim team, and she had to call like the local public health authorities, and she ended up in some like semi-legal battle with the public pool people. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
norovirus we don't recommend. It was really bad. Allie's experience was probably worse though, because I think I was like really little and I don't really remember it, but
It could be worse. I hate feeling feverish. Like I hate that. I had
yeah,
everything.
so
I was
bad.
just unfortunately throwing up every 45 minutes on a consistent interval.
Oh my gosh. That's so now I'm the only one who hasn't gotten norovirus, knock on wood.
It's coming for you.
Oh, it probably is, honestly. Like but I throw back to the first episode where we talked about my phobia. I have had nightmarish thoughts about if I were with Allie that day. Like I would have felt so
Oh,
like
no.
such a bad sister,
Yeah.
honestly. Because
Get away from me.
I literally have such a severe phobia of this. I was like, oh my god, I don't know what I would have done. That sounds so selfish of me to say, but it's literally just like a problem in my life that I like can't be around that, and I freak out. I start crying like it's bad. So I'm like, that's why I'm in therapy for it. Because I'm like, what if this I've gotten really lucky where I nothing like this has happened to me. I haven't been stuck next to someone throwing up, like, but if we were together that day, I would have been sitting next to you. Like,
Exposure therapy, you got to report back to your therapist after that.
dude,
Yeah.
I know, like, yeah. So I'm, it's I'm working on it, but I
Have we
can't
talked
imagine that.
when we talked about it the first time? Did I say the exposure therapy that I gave you
I
like
don't
2 years
remember if you
ago?
did or not.
I think so.
Yeah, basically if we didn't, I was literally having sessions about this with my therapist, and he was like, oh, try to do exposure therapy. And I was like, I don't know, you can't really control when you're around that, so it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like if it randomly happens, sure, I'll let you know, but then literally that day, Nikki was staying with me in my hotel room that I lived in, and she threw up in the bathroom, and it was crazy timing because we had just talked, and Nikki was like, oh, she was joking. She was like, oh, I'll throw up for you, like, so you get exposure therapy. Literally joking that day, I think,
Bro.
about it.
And then I had one like, what are the White Claw extremes? Like
The surge ones.
yeah, I had one
Yeah.
White Claw surge, and it did me in, I guess.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my god. Are we gonna move on to Nikki's other story, or should I do
Man,
mine?
they're both surgery stories, so whoever you
Yeah.
want first.
Yeah, let's save Nikki's for last because it's kind of the craziest one.
I think he's insane.
Yeah. So my other big one is in 2020 my gallbladder just stopped working for some reason. And my previous story kind of was like maybe a little bit of a precursor to that, like a hint of what was to come,
The
because
issues.
basically like the gallbladder works, the bile like goes through it, and if you eat whatever you eat, it will dispense bile, but if you eat things with high fat content, it will work harder basically. And that night particular, I had something with very high fat content. I think the dorm, they made like chicken alfredo or something. It was very, very extreme. So that's probably what caused that for me. um and then I didn't know that this was a problem. It later got diagnosed, but um the night that I knew I had a problem, this was like peak pandemic. I think it happened in like May or June of 2020. So this was like the heat of it. This was like the highest COVID. Everyone, nobody could go anywhere. It was bad. In Texas, people were still going out to eat a lot though, because people did not care in Texas. So I was still working at this restaurant, and trying to make some money, while we were stuck at home. And this day happened to be the first day that Mom and Jerome were leaving and going to his house across town for like the weekend or something. And the three of us were left at home, and we had been stuck inside with them for months at this point, at least a few months. And it's not that we don't like them. We love both of them, but we were just excited to have a weekend, just the three of us. We were just gonna like do whatever we want, get junk food, like stay up all night,
Yeah, we're gonna do
Yeah.
unhinged things.
Yeah. And we hadn't gotten a chance to do that at all yet. So like they left that morning, and we decided to just go hard right away. So basically I think I had worked earlier that day, and I had a salad and had blue cheese dressing on it. This is important later. So I had that for like breakfast. Blue cheese dressing salad. And then when I got home from the morning shift, Mom and Jerome had left. So we were like, yes, let's go get Great American Cookie, or what is it? Great American Cookie?
Yeah,
Is that
it's
what it
Great
was?
American Cookie.
Yeah. Here's a Great American Cookie. We're like, let's get cookie cakes. We got slices of cookie cake. And then we were watching a movie, so we ate buttered popcorn. And, we were just having the best time ever. This was
Peak.
not good.
That was peak, sisters. That was
It
peak.
was.
It really was. We had the three of us had a great time during the lockdown. Like, we really made the best of it. We might talk about that more in full later. But I had to work starting at like 7ish, I think. About 2 p.m. I started to have a stomach ache. And it wasn't like a normal stomach ache. I didn't feel nauseous. I didn't feel bloated. I felt like pain, and it kind of felt like indigestion a bit. So before I went to work from 2 to like 5, I was just laying flat on my back, hoping that it would go away. It didn't really go away, and then when I had to leave for work, I was thinking like, okay, well, I've just been laying down all day, like maybe walking around, and because I was serving, so like maybe walking around will like, I'll go to work and then I'll like forget about it. I'll feel better. So I showed up to work, and I served a few tables. The amount of pain I was in went from like a 4 to like an 8 or 9 very quickly when I was there. And it hurt so bad. And it was kind of an indescribable pain. Like, I didn't feel sick to my stomach. I don't know. It was just very concentrated pain under my rib cage, kind of. Which again, I just thought was indigestion or something. I don't know. It just hurt really bad. I was serving this crazy lady at the time, which adds to the story because she was so mad at me for some reason, and I was like in the worst pain of my life. But I was like, I decided this is my last table. I have to leave after this. This is bad. So I went to the boss and I was like, I'm in so much pain. I have to leave, but I'm gonna close out this table first. So this lady was like, she was so mad. I don't even remember what she was mad about, but she was just complaining and complaining the whole time. And then finally I got her check, and she she gave me the check back, and she wrote tip 0 and circled it. And I was like, this is crazy, because I'm literally just trying to leave and go home, and I'm in the worst pain I've ever been in, and she's
Things
over
like
here
that
just...
really only ever happen to you on your worst days.
They
like,
do. You're right.
all
Yeah.
this
No, I
time.
actually thought it was funny. Like,
True.
whatever. So I left, went home, was just laying in bed. I remember Allie came over at some point, and she brought me like this massive Sprite from Sonic, and I which was really nice. It was really nice of her, but I couldn't drink it because I just was in so much pain. I couldn't even speak. Like, I remember trying to talk to Allie, and my words were like getting lost. Like, I would like start to speak, and then I just couldn't. They wouldn't come out because I was in so much pain. Never threw up, never nothing. And then eventually I was talking to Dad, and he was like, is it on your right side? Because he was worried about appendicitis, and I was like, honestly, kind of feels like on my right side, but it's also everywhere. So I don't know, but it was vaguely on my right side. And so he was like, okay, well, I'll just take you to the ER just in case. Because at that point, it was 11 p.m. and I had been in pain since 2 p.m. Yeah, 11 p.m., 2 p.m. And then I went to the ER, and they eventually got to me, although it took forever because someone was unfortunately dying of COVID in the room next to me. And there was one poor, very new doctor there. And I felt really bad for him because every time he came in my room to check on me, he just looked like, like he was having a terrible day. And I was like, just take care of this person. Like, I'm honestly, it's fine. I'm not, And so he finally got to me and was just like, oh, I don't know what you have. And then sent me home.
Oh my god.
And later I went to some specialists, and they determined my gallbladder had stopped working and I had to have it out. Which that happens for a lot of different reasons. I hope it doesn't happen to either of you two, but I do know that both of our grandparents on both like our father's and mother's side had theirs out around that age. So I think that's part of it. And also it can just randomly happen. I don't know. I asked my surgeon later, and he was like, because it can happen if you gain or lose weight really rapidly. And I was like, oh my god, like I gained a little bit of weight, but it wasn't anything notable really. But it got in my head that like I had done this to myself, and when I got there I was like, did I do this? Like, I was so upset. And he was like, no, he's like, you didn't gain enough weight to have done this. This just sometimes happens to people.
Man.
Yeah, so that kind of explains my general gastrointestinal distress. Before, it was happening before because my gallbladder wasn't working at all. Now that it's gone, it's not much different because it's gone now, which it was kind of gone before too. So I just have to be careful about what I eat sometimes. But fast forward to the rest of my life since the bathroom floor incident, every single time I feel like I'm going to throw up or do throw up, I'm also having diarrhea at the same time. Every single time. So I don't know what's wrong with me, but I know some people it happens to them occasionally, but it's like every time. So I have a routine now. I just grab a bag on my way to the bathroom. Yeah, and I'm kind of used to it now, honestly.
Wait, Kylie, how old were you when that happened? Just so I have like a mental note for myself if I ever start feeling mysterious abdominal pain.
Yeah, I was
22, 21, 20.
20. It was 2020. So, oh my god, I'm bad at math, but
22.
Yeah, I was 23. Yeah, because I was born in 97.
Me. Oh no.
If it does, it's okay. Don't worry.
God bless Kylie for taking the brunt of the genetic.
Bro.
Yeah.
What I remember from that situation is when Dad took you to the ER, for some reason I wasn't home, and I was texting Dad about it, and he made it seem like you were gonna die or something. And I remember being like really sad and anxious because I was like,
Oh,
what's happening? And he was like, Kylie's in a lot of pain. We're going to the ER. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, is she okay? And he goes, I don't know. And I was like, and you were like, fine. And I remember you got home and I was like, Kylie.
yeah. I'm glad there was someone who was able to take me. That was nice.
True.
Yeah. And that was the hospital I was born in too. So when I got there, they were like, have you been here before? And I like looked at Dad and I was like, wasn't I born here? And he was like, yeah, I guess you've been here once before. So
Wow.
which is kind of crazy. Right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well,
now I'm gallbladderless.
nice.
Yeah. No more pain though.
That's good.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, maybe we should move on to Nikki's potentially even crazier story.
Yeah.
With this is less genetic and more run-in with nature.
Bro. Okay, every time I tell this story, it gets more and more dramatic. So this is like a 15% dramatized version of what actually happened, so bear that in mind. But and this was the summer of 2024, so it was like a little bit less than 2 years ago. But I was studying abroad in Jordan, and I had been there for like, I think maybe 2 weeks max. And I was living at a homestay, which is important. a homestay whom I love, and I still WhatsApp sometimes in Arabic now that I can actually speak Arabic, but for the majority of that summer, whom I could not communicate with whatsoever, like at all. We just, because she knew no English and I had no Arabic, and so we just smiled and nodded at each other a lot. But yeah, we're in Jordan, and I don't think, it's not like I was studying abroad in Australia. Like, the wildlife in Jordan isn't that, I feel like this has the same likelihood of happening to me in the US. I just happen to be in another country, which is really stupid. But me and some of my friends from my program decided to get like an Airbnb or something with like 10 of us because it was really hot and we wanted to use a pool. So we just like drove into the desert and got an Airbnb with a pool, and we spent the weekend there, and it was really fun and cool. And I remember as the morning we woke up before we left, I remember like on my thigh, like my left thigh, seeing 2 ant bites and being like, that's weird. I don't remember getting bit by an ant. And for a second I was like, maybe it could have been a spider, but they're too far apart. Like, they were like a good like inch apart from each other, and I was like, that would have had to have been a massive spider. So I probably would have noticed that if that had happened to me. Spoiler alert, I didn't. I guess I was asleep. But anyways, we leave and we go back to where we're studying, and we're back in school, and the next day my leg is kind of like itchy and swollen, and I was kind of like, yeah, that was probably a spider. So I'm gonna get some Benadryl tonight and see if it goes away. And so I got some Benadryl and I took it, and it didn't really go away. And I'm like American, obviously, so I have lots of ER anxiety. I was like, I just have a bug bite. Like, it hurts a little bit, and I don't feel great, but like, it's fine. Like, I'm not paying money to go to the ER, who I can't communicate with because I don't speak any Arabic. So I waited. Never do this. I mean, unless you're in the US and you feel like it's not worth the financial risk. But if you're in another country and you're having a medical problem, just go to the ER, because literally everywhere else it's easier.
You got the survival skills of a peanut.
I know, literally.
If you're in this country, yeah.
Bro. And so it took me, I think, like 48 hours or something, like a couple of days to decide that it was a problem. And at this point I woke up, and for the most part no one was seeing it but me, because I was wearing like longer pants everywhere, but I was wearing shorts like in the house to sleep. And my host mom came in to wake me up, and she saw my leg, and she goes, oh, And then she like went and got mysterious salve from the freezer and was like rubbing it on me and like praying on my leg. And I was like, maybe this is a problem. I should go to the doctor. And around this time also, my stomach was still like adjusting to being in another country, and I think I had accidentally drank some of the tap water, which you're really not supposed to do. And so I was also getting sick, and I did not connect the dots for a little bit too long. I was like, I'm just sick. Like, I just don't feel good because I've been eating weird and I'm not adjusted yet. That was not it. I had an infection. So about 3 days into this, I like went to school, and the person at our school who was like who could help you out if you had a problem like that wasn't there for some reason that day. And I was like, you know what, like, I'm gonna take more Benadryl and talk to her tomorrow. So at this point, it had been like 5 solid days since I had gotten actually bit by the spider when I came in, and I talked to one of the teachers, and I was like, so I think I have a spider bite like on my leg. She was like, can you show me a picture? And I showed her, and she's like, okay, get in my car, we're going to the hospital. And I was like, man. And so we went to the ER, and it was actually fine. Best ER, that the first time I went in, best ER experience I've ever had. It took 20 minutes. He looked at my leg, and he told me, he was like, take all these drugs, like, come back in 48 hours, and if it hasn't gone away, we'll do something about it. And I paid like $7 US. 10 out of 10 experience.
Wow. Crazy.
Really great. But then by the time that 48 hours had gone, I was like throwing up and feverish. And literally the spider bite was like a fist-sized lump in my thigh and like warm to the touch. And I was like,
Getting
so I guess I'm
feverish is
going...
creepy because that
I
means it
know.
traveled like through your bloodstream, yeah?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is what happened. But,
Ugh.
but anyways, by the time it was time for me to go back in, I wasn't still not confident in my Arabic in general, especially like in a medical setting. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna say to them. So I was like, I just need someone with me. So one of my friends from class was living in a homestay next to me, and he spoke a lot more Arabic than I did. And so I was like, please come with me, not realizing that this was gonna be like a 12-hour experience for him. So we went back to the same ER, saw the same guy, took a blood test or something, and they were like, okay, this also a little bit got lost in translation, but he was like, if your blood test result on this is higher than like a 6 or a 7, we're gonna admit you and do surgery. I was like, okay. And so they got it back, and they're like, you're at like a 12. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but it sounds bad. And then we went to go... All of a sudden they were like, okay, so we have to admit you for 24 hours and do a surgery, and we're gonna page the orthopedic surgeon. And I was like, oh my god, what's happening to me? Like, I don't want to be here. And we were in the waiting room of an ER, and there's like 3 old Jordanian men like smoking, listening to this conversation. It was, I don't know. And so I went to go pay before any of that happened, and I kind of just like burst into tears because I reached my limit and I got overwhelmed, and I was also really sick. And so I was like kind of getting it back together. We went back in, and we go back into this room, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of nurses and like a surgeon, and that they walk in and they see that I've been crying, and they do what I've been told since is a very like Jordanian uncle thing to do, which is they immediately just start yelling at me like, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Why are you crying? And I was like, because and it worked actually, because I got like shocked, and I was like, I don't know, like, I just don't really want to be here. And they're like, oh, it's fine, lay down, take your pants off. And I was like, oh no, shit.
Oh.
And so also at this point, my friend has been with me this whole time, and no questions have been asked about him, which becomes important later. But basically they close the door, and it's like they turned it into a surgery room, but the windows are open and there's like no curtains up, which was weird, and there were kind of too many people. And my friend told me afterwards that they were asking him to like grab them stuff. They were like, you grabbed, and he was like, I don't know if I should be whatever, but basically they had to, I'll be not too explicit with this, but it was like one of the most disgusting things that's ever happened to me in my life. But basically they had to cut it open and drain it because there was like infected stuff in there. Nasty. It like exploded. It was bad. But they didn't knock me out or anything. They just used local anesthetic, so like an injection. But generally common knowledge, I feel like local anesthetic takes like 5 minutes to kick in at least, and they did not wait at all. They did it and immediately like sliced my leg open, and I was like screaming, and they were holding me down, and it was really overwhelming. Maybe the worst pain I've ever been in also. And part of the way through, this is I don't know if I should say this. It was like really gross looking. Part of the way through, the doctor was like, "Wait, guys, stop!" And he was like, look at it." And I was like, "I don't want to look at it." And he was like, "No, you have to look at it." And so I looked at it, and he was like, they were literally like holding me down to stop me from moving because I was in so much pain. He was like, "You can feel this?" And I was like, "Yes, I can feel this." Like, it was really bad.
Why do you think I'm freaking out?
And basically, afterwards, this was maybe lasted like 8 to 10 minutes. Like, it wasn't that long. But there was literally like blood on the wall and the floor and all over everything. And my leg was in a giant bandage. And when I unwrapped it later, it literally like looked like I had been shot. I will not give any more details, but I have like a bullet hole looking wound in my leg. It's really disgusting. And so after that incredibly overwhelming first 2 hours at my second trip to the ER, they admit me so that they can keep giving me antibiotics. And health-wise, pretty much everything was fine after that. But then after they admitted me, at this point, we're just like tired and we don't want to be there. And my friend is kind of traumatized from watching me like scream in pain. And we're just sitting in this hospital room, and this nurse who didn't speak any English, I think, or maybe a little bit or something, was asking me intake questions, like, how much do you weigh? Like, how old are you? And she asked me if I was married, and I was like, never been asked that before at like an American hospital. So I was like, maybe this is just a normal question to ask. And I was like, no. And this like very nice, like maybe 60-year-old hijabi Jordanian lady gave the heaviest side eye I've ever seen, because this man, who I have known for 2 weeks and I'm definitely not married to, has been with me the whole time. For like my surgery, he was in there, he was writing down my passport information, and so pretty sure I became the talk of that hospital for a little bit. Man. And then I guess the last part of that story was that the next day, like I stayed there overnight, and the next morning I just really wanted to leave, and I had been checked out and everything, and the nurses kind of like wouldn't let me leave, and I didn't really understand why they wouldn't let me leave. They were like, "Oh, it's Eid." And I knew that it was Eid, but I was like, does that mean I can't leave? Like, what are you talking about? And they were eventually, what they wanted to do was give me the traditional Jordanian Eid dinner, because they knew I was American. And so they brought me, like, it was really sweet actually. They brought me hospital mensef, and I am like, I will ride for Jordanian food. It's so delicious. I can't do mensef. Mensef is gross. It's like lamb with like cheese, like curdled yogurt cheese, and it's just like really weird.
Ooh.
And I will, every other Jordanian dish I love except for that one. But they like brought all of the cafeteria and the nurse staff in that wing of the hospital, and they sat there and they watched me eat the like national Jordanian Eid dish, and I was like,
no,
like, it's so good, it's so delicious. And I like ate as fast as possible. They were like, "Do you want more?" And I was like, "No, thank you." And then I left.
I'm full.
And yeah, it's so bad. But I did, at the end of the summer, this is the positive end of this story. At the end of the summer, I had to go back in for insurance reasons to get like a bill or something, like an itemized bill. And I did it completely in Arabic. I like talked to the entrance lady, and I was like, I was here for this surgery on this day, and I need an itemized receipt of like everything for my insurance. And I said all of that in Arabic, and she understood me, and it was great.
Wow.
So yeah,
that's a lot too. Itemized receipt, like
I had to use Google Translate but only beforehand.
Yeah. Nice.
So it was fine.
It was your rite of
Yeah.
passage.
Crazy.
Man.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So I've taken up all of the time of this episode, but the people needed to know.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. That's
Funny.
crazy that just randomly happened.
Yeah, like don't
I'm
stop
sorry,
that.
not to be a hater, but the fact that you waited all the way until you were feverish from it.
Listen.
This is not a good survival. I would not recommend.
No, I've learned my lesson. It was a bunch of compounding factors, the main one being I'm scared of hospitals, like paying too much for an American hospital, and the second one being that I didn't speak any Arabic and I was scared that there was going to be a miscommunication.
Yeah, like ERs are already not fun, no matter where you are, and so I can imagine the barrier to entry when you're in another country and you don't. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to afford it. Are they even gonna know what I'm talking about? What's going on? Is this safe? All of that stuff. So
Yeah.
I can see why, I guess.
Well, I recommend Jordan to anyone who wants to go. It was great. Getting bit by a spider is really random and it won't happen to you. But if you do end up in the hospital, it was really cheap and the people were really professional and nice. So not
Nice.
that bad of an experience.
Yeah.
Just ask them to wait a couple minutes for the local anesthesia to kick in.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the only.
You're like, can you bring me some lamb while I'm waiting? Hold on, I need to eat lamb first. How's our time? Do we have a?
We're at an hour and 6 minutes, but we have to do
Okay.
the
Yeah,
fourth
we've got to
sister
do
hour.
our
At least
We're
one.
breaking the
sister
fourth
hour.
wall.
Yes.
It's fine.
Okay, so thank you all. Kylie sent out a call earlier this week for some questions to Fourth Sister Hour. Again, this is a very prestigious event. We've only been able to accept a couple responses out of the many hundreds that have been submitted. All right. Let's see. The first one. How do I explain to my cat sometimes that it's too cold to open the window in the bathroom for her? She's just a baby and doesn't speak English yet. Aww.
Kylie has cats.
Well, Kylie is our local cat
Yeah.
owner.
Yeah.
My cats also like to look out the window in the bathroom. I'll sometimes crack it open for them, and they always will go immediately just observe outside. I don't know. What I would recommend is distracting them with cat TV, because I completely forgot that was a thing, and the at least one of my cats wasn't very interested in screens before. Like I'd showed her the iPad, and she just kind of doesn't notice it. So I wasn't sure if this was gonna work, but I recently got a projector, and I projected YouTube, cat TV, birds and squirrels and chipmunks onto the wall at huge, and both of them have been loving it so much they literally launch themselves at the wall, and it really keeps them at bay from compulsive activities, like begging for food or doing bad things. So try cat TV. Maybe it'll distract them from wanting to look out the window.
True.
That's my suggestion.
She's just a baby.
Yeah.
She doesn't know English yet.
She doesn't know English yet. Big,
She will,
big
though.
She's
emphasis
learning.
on yes.
Oh my god.
She will.
The future is bright for her.
Oh.
The future is
gosh.
bright.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. If one day you woke up and realized that you swapped your body with your sisters, what would you want to do?
That's hard.
Man.
Oh,
Well, there are two different versions of this question where it's like if I swap into Kylie's body, like can I professionally play bassoon or is it still like my brain? Like if the skills is part of it, then like I would like to play the bassoon really really well. That'd be cool. you have the coolest niche skill out of the three of us. But then if that's not a factor, I don't really know, because if you like wake up in the body of like an Olympic athlete or something, obviously it would be a very different experience. But we're all like women in our 20s with relatively like similar physiques. I'm like not even really sure what would be different except for like socially. So the question here really is like, if I woke up as Allie, like what would I want to do as Allie in her life?
Yeah. I think for me, at least Allie, I would want to experience the sleep schedule and circadian rhythm of a normal person.
Oh my god.
Because I think Allie, out of the three of us, is maybe the only one that has that.
Oh
And Nick's
wow.
better than me. She's definitely better than me. You're more normal than I am, but I have the absolute worst out of all three of us for various reasons. And I would just want to like live a day in your life as like, oh, getting up at a normal time. You know?
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
I'm trying not to slip into the off because it's also very easy getting your
Yeah.
circadian rhythm off. I would choose to be Nikki and just go cuss someone out.
Hey, no. Wait, who? I'm in suburbia now. The only people around are Mom and Jerome.
Someone at
No,
Walmart.
There's someone that I know in my life.
Oh.
And Kylie, I could do that with Kylie too, but Kylie's so nice. It doesn't match.
Yeah, if you
Maybe
do that with
let's
me,
crush-
it like might actually be me doing it.
I want to take my biggest enemy, my most mortal enemy, who I
Confront
don't
them
really
in a different body. Yeah.
I bring Nikki and I just start cussing them out, and then I just leave.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or I'd become no, this wouldn't be nice to your body, Nikki. I'd become a violent protester.
Oh no. She's like, I'm sacrificing you for the cause, not me. Allie would martyr me in my own body.
Not what I was expecting.
Oh, no. I don't know how to top that. What am I supposed to say to that?
Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't even know if that's really my answer. That just popped into my head. I can't control it.
Oh, also anxiety levels, because I feel like we're all anxious about various things, some overlapping, but I would want to feel what baseline another person feels like to see if what I feel is normal or like relative. Not that like one or two people would be a good like survey, right, of like the normal experience, but and also where I feel like the three of us are very similar. So yeah, I would want to know like baseline what someone else's like emotions and anxiety feels like.
You know what I would do? That inspired me. I would live in Kylie's body for a week with your sleep schedule.
Oh.
That people, primarily our mom, who will be watching this, hi mom, really like make fun of her for having a terrible sleep schedule. And I feel like if you had one person to back you up, if I could be like, I lived in Kylie's body for 1 week and I felt terrible all the time and I had to sleep 12 hours every night and you need to stop making fun of her, maybe like I could solve that problem for you. So I'll be like altruistic with my answer.
Yeah, that would be great actually. There's only so much one person can claim, and then people are like, really?
Synesthesia. I also thought of that. I want to experience Kylie's synesthesia, but I don't know how much that is like a.
I would go in Kylie's body and go up to strangers and just be like, "You're baked beans." Oh wait, you have to know their name.
What's your name? Shoot. Baked beans.
Oh yeah. You would just go up to strangers and be like, "Hi, what's your name?" You're broccoli with cheese sauce. And just walk away. I would love that. Yeah. That would give me whimsy for the day.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. It's an interesting experience. For sure.
Yeah, we're similar enough that like it would asking this question to any other group of people would be a lot different.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of similarities. So like there's certain
Yes.
things that would it's like sometimes I don't think that I have a unique experience with the two of you. Like I think we've all experienced and to different degrees, and we have different levels of certain things, but like certain experiences, I don't think that I have a singular unique experience that one of the two of you hasn't experienced to some degree.
There's a lot
Going
of
back
overlap there, for sure.
to the podcast name, it's like Allie will say something really niche and specific. She's like, I went to the store today and I looked at this thing and I thought specifically about this one computer website from 2012. And I'm like, yeah, me too.
Yes.
She's like, you know what I mean? And I do. I do know
Yeah.
what she means. True.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Okay,
Maybe we
last
should-
last question.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go
Oh,
for it.
sorry. Okay. Last questions. What are y'all's fursonas?
Oh my god.
Can someone explain what that means?
I think I have to as the youngest. I feel like I'm verging towards the generation. Well, I'm not a hater. It's a valid hobby, I guess. I don't really understand it, but people who are furries, when they dress up in their costume or make online art or engage with furry communities on the internet, have a fursona, which is like the animal that they are. And so I guess that's what this, like, what animal would you be, but like more fun edition. Like if I had to dress up as an animal and go to furry events with other people, what would I be dressed up as?
Like if you were like a college mascot, but like you,
Yeah.
whatever you wanted it to be.
I think that okay, so Allie and I don't know about Kylie, but Allie and I were avid Animal Jam players. Throwback to Animal Jam. That was our Club Penguin. Like we played Club Penguin a little bit, but Animal Jam was where it was at.
National Geographic. It's the National
Yes.
Geographic version of Club Penguin.
Yes.
Nice.
We recommend. But I think that I was always a white tiger and Allie was always like the blue wolf. And so maybe those are our personas.
Yeah, I think your fursona should be whatever your character on your early 2000s computer game was growing up. Whatever your Club Penguin or your Neopet or your
Did
What
Kylie have
else?
one of those?
I don't remember playing that game, and I don't remember playing Neopets either, but the game that I did play a lot was Pets 5. And I had the cat and dog version on the computer, and you could adopt and breed like different cats and dogs, and but my one like core memory of that game, which cracks me up so much, is, and I would play it with Allie. I think maybe Nikki was too. I don't know if you remember
I
that or
played
not.
it. Don't
Okay.
worry. I played
So
it.
I would play it with both of you, and I remember I was home playing it one day, and Allie was somewhere. She was like at an activity or something, or at a friend's house. And I was playing it by myself, and I was in this backyard environment. And I had only ever seen cats and dogs in that game, and this white pig walked into the backyard, and I had never seen any other animal in that game. And there was a white pig. And I picked it up like the way you pick it up is just click down and hold on it and then lift it. And I remember really wanting to show Allie this pig, but she wasn't home. Oh, hi, Mom. I can see you at the background. So I picked up this pig, and this pig was strange looking. It was bleached. It was totally white and had huge eyes. And I was like, this is crazy. And I wanted to show Allie, so I clicked down on it, held it up in the air, and put something like a book down on the left clicker on the mouse, so it would just hold, and I could just wait for her to get home. And then when she got home, I was like, Allie, come see this. And we went upstairs, and it had turned night in the game because it took so long. So the sky was now black and starry, and there's the moon, and this pig was just hanging there, rotating. And it was like audibly sighing. Like, it would just go. And it was acting so pissed off that I had been holding it for hours. I was like, that is so crazy. So I feel like somewhere deep in my soul, I'm that bleached pig hanging in the backyard.
Oh my god.
No, seriously, like, I think the key to life is bringing the key to happiness in life. I've been thinking a lot about happiness in my own life. I think the key to happiness is finding a way to bring back the joy that you had as a kid about things like that.
Yeah.
Like the computer game, and also just like
Yeah.
random things. Like, I remember we just had one computer and we like were only allowed to play,
Yeah.
educational computer games. I was locked into that.
Yeah.
So basically what Allie is trying to say in conclusion of the episode is that what do you call people who are is there a name for people who are furries on the internet? Like the furry community?
Honestly, you do too. I love that.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Right.
furries, if that brings you the whimsy that we had from playing Pets 5 Cats and Dogs, I 100% support it, and you can quote me.
Yes.
Honestly,
agreed.
do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
No judgment at all.